All right, so we're going to cover the last 3 types of poetry, and this will have been 10 types of poetry in just a few days here. Remember, these are in that optional category. The 4 optional ones were limericks, Diamante, Acrostic, and Cinquain poetry, and then sonnets are bonus. So the first one we're going to talk about is a Diamante poem, and hopefully you kind of see the word diamond because that ends up being the shape that it makes. And these are very specific and they have a specific format. So they're 7 lines long, and your knowledge of parts of speech will come in very handy here because the first, you're essentially building it out into the shape of a diamond and then back in, right? So the first and last line are going to have 1 word and then 2 words and then 3 words, and the line in the middle, which is line 4, has 4 words and then 3, 2, 1 to make it into that diamond shape. So lines 1, 4, and 7 have nouns. 2 and 6 are adjectives, and 3 and 5 are verbs. And there are 2 different types: synonyms. Synonyms are words that are obviously the same, and antonyms are words that are opposite. So let's look at a couple of examples. And this is a cinnamon, yep. We need some cinnamon rolls this morning. So the things being compared here are monsters and creatures. So monsters, creepy, sinister, adjectives. Verbs, ending in ing is the best way to do that. Hiding, lurking, stalking. And then across the middle, these nouns can apply to both monsters and creatures. Vampires, werewolves, mummies, zombies. And then we're starting to describe the creatures, but it's the same thing. Different verbs: chasing, pouncing, eating, hungry, scary, adjectives, and that final noun of creatures. This is also another synonym one, right? Puppy, and another word for puppy is pup down at the bottom, so they're the same. Sweet, young, running, sleeping, playing, ball, leash, treats, backyard, barking, eating, fetching, playful, silly. So you can see 2 adjectives, 3 verbs, 4 nouns that describe both pup and puppy, and then 3 more verbs, 2 more adjectives, and a noun. For antonym, you're going to switch in the middle, right? So at the top, we're talking about a smile, and by the end, we're going to be talking about a frown, right? So smiles are happy, warm, both adjectives. Welcoming, inspiring, soothing are your verbs. The line in the middle applies to both smiles and frowns, right? Curve, lips, expression, emotion. And then you're going to change and start talking about frowns: disturbing, deterring, depressing, sad, unwelcome, frown. So you can see that line in the middle applies to both smiles and frowns. The emotions obviously are very different. And then here is another antonym one, going from superheroes to villains. Right, brave, bold, saving, fighting, flying. And then that line in the middle, superhero versus evil villain. And then you switch to talking about the villain. Any questions about these Diamante poems? Like, so they look like diamonds. And all right, acrostic poetry you've probably been doing with individual words since elementary school. Remember, you choose a word to write down the side and then create your poem based on the first letter there. And usually you do the word down the side in a different font or something to show what that word is. The difference is, for us, you should be using phrases and sentences instead of just the individual words, so that it's not elementary or freshman level type things, right? So we see the word down the side: rainstorm, raindrops drip, drop on my shoes, and more drops fall in 1s and 2s. Now you do not have to rhyme. This has end rhyme, right? Inside, hide, run, fun, be, see, me. That obviously is not something you have to do, but you see this word out to the side. And this is an example of like the traditional kind of acrostic poem with the word on one side and then all of your phrases going to the right. This one, they use some different fonts, and you'll notice like each individual is kind of like a whole sentence. They don't really go together. They're just describing winter in a bunch of different 6 different sentences there. And they kind of seem to flow, but they're really all just individual words or sentences describing winter. And then this one is a different one. The word down the middle is overpopulation and art. And so this is a different type, it's still an acrostic poem, but they built the word down the middle of the page and then put their sentences on either side and then made those letters fit wherever. So those are all examples of acrostic poetry. Any questions about acrostic poetry? Sweet. The last one is a cinquain. And if you think of the word cinq or cinco in both Spanish and French, it means 5, so it's 5 lines long. And you're building up your syllable counts by even. So line 1 has 2 syllables, line 2 has 4, line 3 has 6, line 8 has 8 syllables, not words, and then you jump back down to 2, and it needs to be a synonym for the title. So line 1 is technically the title, a noun. And you can see over there, right here, we have like a format for you, right? Line 1 is a title, 2 syllables, noun. Line 2 should be 2 adjectives with 4 syllables to describe your noun. Line 3 is 6 syllables with verbs ending in ing, expressing emotion or description in line 4, and then line 5 is a synonym. So that looks like this. You have puppy, 2 syllables. Ornery, naughty is 4 syllables. Growling, jumping, chewing. A playful bundle of trouble. Boxer. And boxer specifically is renaming puppy. Right, flowers, colorful, fragrant, adjectives, swaying, growing, blooming, make me feel happy, blossoms. And blossoms obviously is another word for flowers. Any questions over Cinquain? All right, that is it for today.